Hey, everybody. I'm so glad to welcome you to the second topic of this module titled Meditation. We've already learned a bit about the power of the mind and the science that backs it up. And we talked about two general modalities to start, which included visualization and affirmation. Now, what we're going to do is dig deeper into the next layer of self-healing with our mind, and that's through meditation. Let's define meditation for our purposes. For our purposes, the simplest definition of meditation is to bring awareness to one's breath. Like dharana, it gives focus to this one thing. So, being mindful of our breath can be more approachable to beginners than mantra-based or chanting meditations. Not everybody's comfortable with that to start, and that's okay. Transcendental meditation, or the kind that you would find in Hindu and Buddhist origins, often do mantra-based meditations. And I am here to tell you there's just as much research and benefit of that kind of meditation. To this program, we're going to be practicing mindfulness meditation. And like TM and Hindu and Buddhist meditations, it has just as much research to back it up as well. We're going to start with the health benefits of meditation, and we're going to focus on the physical body for this one. Then we're going to move into emotional benefits, and then we're going to talk about the power of breath and presence. Now, I'm starting with the health benefits of meditation because you may have originally thought that meditation is completely an emotional regulation process, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. So how it helps the physical body is it interacts with the stress and anxiety hormones that can cause somatic symptoms in the body. And it basically can reduce your blood pressure, decrease inflammation. It's beneficial for hypertension. It can actually lessen pain symptoms. And it can improve your learning, memory, cognitive function. It helps addicts not relapse. And believe it or not, it actually slows the aging process at the cellular level. What's crazy is that for a practice that we think is purely emotional, or maybe a little spiritual, that it has a ton of research studies that you can look up yourself that show how people who practice meditation versus those who don't in these studies have completely different physical symptoms or lack thereof. So first we have Johns Hopkins. They did a participant study of over 3,500 people. For the group that was given meditation practice to do, they had significant reductions in anxiety, depression, and general pain in their body. Same thing with the University of Montreal. 12,000 people across 200 studies showed that those that were in the groups with meditation had very effective treatment outcomes based on a various list of psychological disorders. The University of Utah showed that those that were meditating as part of their substance abuse treatments actually had rewiring in their brains that prevented relapses from happening. Finally, Harvard studied MRI scans and looked at memory function in meditation participants and found that they had increased learning and memory function, not just kept it, they increased it. There's a lot to be said for meditation on the physical body. And here's one more slide for you. The University of Utah studied 6,000 participants. This is one of my favorites, okay? It showed that meditation, along with other mind-body therapies, like let's say acupuncture, reduced not only acute pain, but also chronic pain and post-operative pain, which reduced the need for opioids in recovery processes. So here we have a woo-woo tactic, meditation, that's now being used with all different types of pain studies and interventions, including surgery. You can see in Italy, they also replicated that study, but then showed that they had also a reduction in inflammation, which can also cause the pain. Carnegie Mellon showed that even going deeper to a reduction of inflammation, they were able to zero in on the actual biomarker that was triggered. And that biomarker had been calmed during meditation, which meant it didn't release the inflammation hormones. And then finally, this is also one of my favorites. Harvard showed a genetic study where they researched at the cellular level, where they could see how cells are reproducing as people age. As you age, cell reproduction slows down, and eventually kind of stops over a good percentage of your cells. Well, meditation slowed that. People who meditated actually had prolonged and strong cellular reproduction function. So, incorporating meditation into your practice takes you to destination healthy, and that's what we're all about in this program. When we repeatedly practice mindfulness and we notice our breath, okay, meditation is as simple as that, guys. It doesn't have to be 25 minutes a day. It could be a couple minutes when you bring your awareness back to your breath. We exercise the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Okay, this is a part of your brain that controls stress and anxiety. And the more we exercise that, the stronger it gets. So that in our daily life, even when we're not meditating, that muscle of the brain is able to perform the way we need it to. We're less reactive, we're less emotional, and we're calmer. So meditation is like taking your brain to the gym. Now let's move over to the emotional benefits of meditation. We've already talked a lot about the physical benefits, but in so many ways, our emotions are what lead to our physical ailments, right? And so I think the question is like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it the emotions that caused the pain, or is it the inflammation and the pain that's causing the emotions? Well, meditation covers both, so it doesn't matter. Meditation can lessen anxiety and stress. I just kind of explained how, but it also extends the ability to feel empathy. Instead of like defaulting to your frustration switch and getting mad at that driver in front of you, it gives you the opportunity to think like, oh, it looks like there's a sleeping baby on board, so she must be taking her turns a little slower. It enables better self-control, self-esteem. It can improve your concentration, and it really leans in to make you a happier and more joyful person. Oh yeah, there's studies on this too, guys. So in the research studies around emotional benefits of meditation, we find that oxytocin, which is the kindness hormone, increases, which therefore increases your feelings of happiness. And while affirmations activate brain regions, meditation deactivates parts of your brain and calms those regions. So if you think about it, combining affirmations and meditation is sort of a double whammy for your brain. It's activating certain parts of your brain that need to be rewired for better behavior, while meditation deactivates other parts of your brain so that you can stay calm. The Weizmann Institute of Science found that repeating mantras, or for lack of a better term, affirmation, quieted areas of the brain involved with mental chatter and self-judgment. We like to call that the inner jerk. And then finally, metta, or the Buddhist variation of kindness meditation, works areas of the brain that are responsible for empathy and compassion. So this kind of meditation, kindness meditation, instead of focusing on your breath and kind of seeking internally, it actually encourages the person to take their meditation outward and wish someone the best, right? So if I'm struggling with a colleague, the meditation that I choose that day, if I were to go with metta, would actually have me wishing her joy hoping that she has a safe drive home, hoping that she sleeps well tonight. And putting that kindness out there increases our empathy and compassion and overrides those frustrated feelings. And now the next slide. The benefits of observing our thoughts through meditation without engaging them reduces depression and anxiety. So there's a book called The Untethered Soul, and it talks about stepping out of a situation and looking at it as an observer. Now, when you do this, you're able to kind of detach from the emotion part of it, and you're able to observe it, acknowledge it, and then sort of process it without all of that anxiety. Telomere health, which affects biological age, actually showed that people who meditate have an improved quality of life. And you'll see that vagus nerve activity piece in there. That vagus nerve is going to come up again in this course. That thing has so much to do with our mental well-being and our general health. And so meditation actually increases that nerve activity and helps us, really gives us a runway to take off. And then finally, meditation protects us from overdoing compassion. So I want you to think about that. On the last slide, we talked about empathy. Okay, empathy is a good thing. We want to be empathetic. We want to be compassionate too, but there's a difference. Being compassionate means taking on others' emotions as your own. And this means that you can feel sad when they feel sad, instead of seeing someone sad and wanting them to feel happier. Okay, so there's a little bit of a difference there, and meditation really helps your body and your mind understand the difference. So we've already gone to destination healthy. Let's take it to destination happy. Meditation studies show reductions in stress and anxiety and increases in self-esteem as we learn to notice our thoughts and beliefs in a less judgmental way. So this goes back to stepping outside as the observer. Let's talk about breath and presence now. Now here's the basics. Meditation is all about breath and presence, right? And we're drawing awareness to that breath. So to breathe consciously is to slow and deepen your breath. You may hear people who are anxious say they have shallow breathing or they can't catch their breath. That is a symptom of stress and anxiety. So to slow the breath, deepen it, even to hold it a second, makes all the difference. It connects your mind, body, and spirit. Now in yoga, we call this pranayama or ujjayi breath. And so you may hear those two terms thrown out there as well. Ujjayi breath is a little bit deeper. It has a little bit more of like an ocean rattle. Now let's take a breath in together. We're going to inhale end to end. I want you to hold it at the top. And now I want you to exhale slower than the inhale. And then I want you to hold it empty at the bottom. We're going to do this one more time. Inhale to the top. Hold. And exhale. Slower than your inhale. And then hold it at the bottom. You can do this 3 to 5 times anytime you need to reset your nervous system. Now, why does this work? When we slow our breath and inhale with awareness, we're able to detach from the outcome of what's happening at the moment. It's like a timeout for your body, mind, and spirit. It resets the nervous system so that when you do time back in, you're more equipped to handle whatever it is. And then it also allows you to be present in the moment, not running a mile a minute in your mind, answering 100 emails an hour. You're able to just stop, just for a moment. And that's exactly what we need. Now you can do this anytime. You can do this in the morning before you get out of bed. You can do it while you're sitting with your coffee. do it in the middle of the workday. Take the deep breaths when you're walking the dog. It's great to do this in nature. And then, of course, before bed to prepare your body for sleep. Now, people have different meditation preferences. Some like to do yin yoga, stretching, and relaxation while they are doing their meditation breathing. Others are able to just do it in the car while they just have a free moment of peace. It doesn't matter. The point is to work it in and be very aware and present in the moment when you're doing it. And now let me ask you, why the frick not? If there is any part of this woo-woo presentation module that we're going to be going through, why not? Why not take a few deep breaths and just reset your nervous system a couple times a day? It doesn't take long, so you can't really say, oh, I don't have time. I get it. We don't all have time to get to the gym every day, but that's not what this is. And other people will say, well, my mind races. It can't slow down. It won't slow down for this. Guess what? It gets easier. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. And you're going to have days where no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to keep your mind on your breath, and that's okay. Just keep bringing it back to the breath when you realize you've wandered. If it's too noisy, guess what? While I'm recording this, I got a kid downstairs playing basketball and my husband rattling his weights in the basement. You're probably going to hear it on the background of this presentation. Too noisy doesn't matter. You don't need complete focus to get done what you need to get done. Put on some noise-canceling headphones if it bothers you. Run the shower, run the bath, step outside, go for a drive. There's so many different ways to do it. Another excuse is people may say, well, I'm not spiritual or religious, or I'm religious and this scares me. Okay, so you don't have to be spiritual or religious to be able to meditate. This is about you, your breath, and your presence. Now, if your religion prefers you to pray and focus your energy that way, that's okay too. Prayer can be a form of meditation. But what I want you to do while you're praying is focus on your breath in and out, okay? And then if you're not someone who likes to sit still and you prefer to work out your stress by running or working out hardcore, that's awesome. Yay for you. That's not me, but yay for you. It's okay to do your workouts and run out your stress that way, but there's so much benefit to taking 2 minutes at the beginning and at the end, maybe during your stretching, where you can take those deep breaths and focus on it. Okay, so we're going to end with a quote again. Within you, there is a stillness and a sanctuary to which you can retreat at any time and be yourself. You know, in this crazy world, in our crazy jobs, with our crazy families, sometimes it's just really hard to find a place to be your honest, true self, right? We're always putting ourselves out there as having it all together or being smart or being organized. Well, sometimes when it's just you and your breath, it's okay to just kind of give yourself that imaginary hug and say, hey, you're doing a great job. Okay, so I want you to think about that. We're going to reflect and apply. Of course, there'll be a worksheet and a few meditations to work through, but this is going to be a part of the practice that I'd love you to start working into every single day. Okay, I'm not going to make you keep a journal of every time you meditated because that's no fun. But I want you to remember those few times a day where you take a few deep breaths in instead of taking getting a glass of wine, instead of grabbing a cigarette, instead of eating a bag of donuts. I want you to remember those moments where you took a deep breath in and you held it at the top and you did that 5 more times. The whole goal is to reset your nervous system, and meditation is the best way to do that. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you next time.